podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the host and guests and do not constitute professional advice. We make no representations or warranties regarding the accuracy, completeness, or applicability of the content. Please consult qualified experts for specific guidance. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, health, tax, or professional advice. Always consult a licensed professional for specific advice related to your situation.
Hello there, this is Lakeisha from the Real Lyfe Topics, a place where we are dealing with real life stuff here. Today, I'm going to jump right in because I want to talk about something that may not always be the easiest to talk about, but that's what we do over here, right? We talk about hard conversations, hopefully making them easy. Maybe I'll say some things that you wanted to say, but don't know how to. All right. So listen, we're going to talk today about raw emotions. Raw emotions. So many times I've seen people not want to be honest about their raw emotions, like how you're really feeling, if you're dealing with anger or sadness or maybe loneliness or depression. One, you might not even recognize what that is, but two, are you embarrassed to even say what it really is? Are you embarrassed to talk about, what it really sounds like? But I had an experience a few months ago when I was in a rough place. And spoke to one of my colleagues in ministry. And one of the things that he said to me is he said, God can handle your raw emotions, right? He's a senior in ministry, not really in technical terms, my colleague, but more of an older person in the ministry. And I was talking to him and he said to me, God can handle your raw emotions, Keisha. So this was so liberating for me because I think I try to be very aware and in tune to how I feel and how to process those emotions. That's even something that I taught my kids. Coming up, they were little and they may have been having a meltdown or just experiencing whatever their emotions were. I wasn't the parent that said to them, oh, just be quiet. Or, one of the things that I did say is you have a right to be angry. Because let's just tell the truth. Let's just talk about this. Let's put a pin in it and talk about children for a minute. When you give them an instruction, they may not always like that instruction and it might not make them happy. It doesn't mean that because they experience their emotions that they don't have to be obedient. They still have to be obedient, but it's okay for them to feel what they feel and recognize how they feel. Well, that's just like us. We're adults, I might experience an emotion. I might experience anger. I might feel disappointed. I might have failed expectations, whatever that is. I want to encourage you not to act like it's not that. I think that sometimes can be more dangerous or more damaging because you can suppress them or smother them or just, pack them up. But that doesn't mean that they are going away. You need to be able to be aware of what your raw emotions are and that God can handle your raw emotions. So I knew this. I believe I lead my life that way. And I also really was adamant about teaching it to our children. One time my son, I was talking to him and he was not happy with it and he wanted to cry. And I said, hey, look, you can cry. You can even scream if you want to scream, but you're going to go to your room. And you're going to close your door and you're going to have that moment because what I'm not going to allow you to do right now is interrupt the rest of the house. Like I'm not going to let you interrupt the rest of the house. So of course, with them being younger, I might do that and stand there and just let them know, hey, I'm here. Feel your feelings. And I think that's so important because, sometimes we just want our children to just, suck it up. Well, do you really just suck it up as an adult? Sometimes you might. But what if you feel them? What if you acknowledge the fact that I know I got to do this, but I don't like it. I know I got to go here, but this is not what I choose. What if you just honest with that? Sometimes I think that'll help you navigate through the process. And so I want to encourage you not to fake it until you make it, right? To really experience or be willing to admit how something makes you feel. I'm not talking about yelling and screaming at other people. I'm talking about introspective look, personal reflection, and being honest about how something made you feel. Sometimes you're not happy Even though you may not be able to express your emotions outwardly, you need to have that moment with yourself so that when you get to the place that you can express it, it still don't come out because you've processed it. Everyone may not agree with your emotions. Everyone may not have the same feelings or even relate to you, but it doesn't mean that's not how you feel. And so I think it's very important for us to understand we can deal with our raw emotions in a healthy manner. And God can also handle our raw emotions. He can handle if you're disappointed, if you feel let down, or you have failed expectations, or something made you angry, or you're just extremely happy and overwhelmed and overjoyed, whatever that is. I want to encourage you to be honest about your raw emotions, because I think that will help us be able to express ourselves with other people. When we become aware, it's easier for us to communicate how we feel to those that we love and we care about. You know what? You know why we're here? We're here to bring awareness, hopefully some resiliency and resolution with things that you're facing, with the ultimate goal of evolution, evolving. We all got to evolve. But listen, I hope this helped you on today, or made you at least think a little bit about you, about those that you have influence with, about your children, right? And we're like children. There are different points in our lives that we are less mature than others. And as we grow and as we learn, wisdom comes. You may not have done everything perfectly. You're not perfect. And that really is okay. But, I hope this conversation gets you to think about the fact that God can handle your raw emotions. And you know what? Most of the times, the people that really love and care about you can too. It's just all about the way that we are able to process those and communicate those. All right. Hope this is a good one for you. Until next time, live your life with intention, clarity, and direction. That is the On Purpose life.